Hello, it's Stuart, the Unrepentant Atheist here. Thank you for tuning in. So Matt took part in a debate quite recently. Is Mariology reasonable? Debating William Albrecht. So I must say I didn't know what Mariology was, and I had to look it up. And it seems that it's the theological study of the significance of the Virgin Mary in Christianity. So I had no idea about this, and I had a quick read up on it, not too much. So I went straight into the debate, and I watched the debate for some time. It seemed that the debate title is Mariology reasonable? I'm wondering whether so much ground has been covered in apologetics, counter-apologetics, etc., and atheists against Christians. We're now moving into the fringes with some of these sort of obscure topics, but nevertheless, there were some interesting things that came out of this. One I would like to touch on in this video, because I'm not going to review the whole debate, is there was a bit of a quarrel between William and Matt, which I'm going to cover and try and resolve. It's one of these things where we can wind back the tape to see what Matt said, to hear what Matt said. So it essentially covers something that Matt said in his opening statement about how the Roman Catholic Church had elevated the Virgin Mary to a sort of quasi-deity. We're going to go through now, first of all, and look at later in the debate when this argument crops up, and then we're going to look back at actually what Matt did say. So let's just have a listen to how William challenges Matt on this particular point.
You claim that the Catholic Church had, by the way, I want to be very clear, the claims that I make about Mary are not only Catholic, Matt, they're also Eastern Orthodox and Syriac Orthodox, which are all apostolic branches. You said that the Catholic Church had elevated Mary to the level of a deity. Where does the church in her official capacity tell us to worship Mary?
I didn't say to the level of a deity. As a matter of fact, what I said was, I think, quasi-deity or pseudo-deity or sub-deity. I didn't put a specific label on it.
Where has the church in her official capacity elevated and told us to worship Mary as a quasi-deity?
By instructing people to pray to Mary, to ask Mary to pray on their behalf.
Where does Scripture say that prayer cannot be asked of others other than God?
It doesn't say that, but where does it say that you can? Because Jesus specifically gives instructions on how one should pray.
You're talking about the Our Father. We're also told to ask others to intercede for us, Matt. So my question goes right back to that. Where does Scripture say that asking for intercession is a quality of deity? Doesn't, does it?
It doesn't matter.
Why? You made the statement in your opening statement. It shouldn't matter.
No, sir, I didn't. I made it in just a moment ago in response to you.
Matt, I wrote it down
to what the Catholic Church has done to elevate it to a status beyond that of regular human beings. I'm not going to ask you or to intercede. How is this relevant to Mariology?
Because you just, well, first off, it's my cross-examination, not your period. But here's the important thing, Matt. In your opening statement, I wrote it down exactly what you said. And I'm going to hold you to it.
It's fine. It's entirely.
Oh, that's so funny. It's such it's a debate. As Matt said, look, the New Testament mentions Mary 48 different times. And there were several different Marys in the New Testament, so it doesn't really amount to a lot. And it looks to me like there's so little material here really to debate that now they're nitpicking. William is now nitpicking over what Matt said, but fair enough. If Matt made a claim, which is not really wholly directly related to the question, is Mariology reasonable? If he said something as part of this debate and William's noticed it and Matt can't back it up, then why not? As there's a long way to go in this debate and there's not really much to say, why not indeed?
Really possible that I said that exactly the way you are. What's the point?
You did. The point is, I am asking you, in her official capacity, where has the church ever said to worship her as a quasi-deity? And if she hasn't, will you admit you are wrong on that point?
So what I said was I was talking about what I was taught as a Southern Baptist, and I said that I no longer hold to that stuff.
Aha. Remember that. We're going to come back to that.
Did you not hear that part?
So why
did you not hear that part?
Oh, I heard it very clearly, Matt. But you made
then why are you pretending like I'm saying something I'm not?
Because you made a statement, a blanket statement.
I made a statement of what I used to believe because of what I was taught.
You didn't say this is what I used to believe because I was taught. You said
yes, I did.
Had elevated her to the level of a quasi.
Yes, I did.
And now you can't give any evidence of that, Matt.
I don't need to give any evidence of it. You're the one that needs to demonstrate that Mariology is reasonable. I've given my opening statement.
Me, I will answer what I said in my opening statement. I won't swerve.
Matt's praying for help. Can you see? Or he's praying for this part of the debate to move on.
And avoid what I've said. You said that in your opening statement, Matt. You said it, and I'm asking you where the church teaches that, and you refuse to show us.
No, I'm not refusing to show you. I said that this is what I learned as a kid. This is what I no longer hold to, and that I have less problem with the Catholic Church than I do with my fundamentalist upbringings. This was not in any way a statement of what the Catholic Church necessarily teaches. I was saying that as a Southern Baptist kid, I was taught.
You don't believe the church does that then? You don't believe the church teaches you to worship Mary then?
No.
Good. Good. Okay. So my next
if you'd have listened, you'd have heard me say
I did
that this is what I was taught.
I did listen, and I believe.
Okay, well, let's find out whether he listened. Okay, so this is earlier in the debate during Matt's opening statement. Let's hear what he says.
There's not a single contemporary extra biblical account that mentions Mary in any way. And so it's all about what's in the Bible. Now, as a kid, as a Southern Baptist, I was taught that Catholics were heretics praying to saints and Mary, and that this wasn't biblical. I've let go of a lot of that, even though I haven't seen little to change my mind about what is or isn't biblical there. I'm not at all fond of the Catholic Church, and I've called it a criminal organization, but that's completely separate from its doctrines. And I find that I'm less annoyed with the Catholic Church than many Catholics are, than I am with the fundamentalist evangelical Protestant ones with which I was raised, which are generally more hateful. And so.
Okay, so let's stop there. So you heard that. So Matt was saying that when he was brought up as a Southern Baptist, he was taught certain things about Catholics, that they idolized Mary, etc., and that they weren't really kind of doing the right holy thing. So that's where Matt deals with what Southern Baptists taught him as a child. No mention there of the Southern Baptists teaching him that the Catholic Church taught that Mary was a sort of quasi-deity. So let's go and have another look at another clip where Matt does mention the Catholic Church properly. Okay, so here's another clip. Let's check this one out.
Get evidence against it, which is why it's viewed as a miracle. Because if you call it a miracle instead of what it actually is, which is impossible according to scientific evidence, people have an excuse to believe as they like. In the verses where Jesus instructs people how to pray, I don't recall seeing one that tells people to pray to or through Mary, or to ask Mary to pray for you. So from a doctrinal standpoint, the way the Catholic Church has elevated Mary to a minor pseudo-deity or quasi-deity or sub-deity, where does she sit in the hierarchy?
Now, did you hear that? Let me just go back. We better listen to that again. Well, we won't listen to it again. It's too awkward to find. But you heard that quite clearly. What Matt was saying is that the Catholic Church has elevated Mary to sort of quasi-deity. I think it's quite fairly well conclusive there that perhaps Matt was actually wrong, because he was talking about earlier on, at least 6 minutes previous to this statement that he made, he was talking about how he was taught as a Southern Baptist, about what Catholics were like, and then he moves on from there and he starts saying, well, there's not much in the New Testament. You know, Mary was mentioned so many times, and there's no extra biblical accounts, and here we have the Catholic Church teaching that Mary is a quasi-deity. Yes, okay, let's have a listen to that one last time, just one more time, just to be certain what it is that Matt says and whether William was correct or not.
To pray for you. So from a doctrinal standpoint, the way the Catholic Church has elevated Mary to a minor pseudo deity or quasi deity or sub deity.
He does state that as a matter of doctrine, if it's a matter of doctrine, it must be written somewhere, I would guess. And he stated that the Catholic Church, as a matter of doctrine, has elevated Mary to, I've written it down here, minor pseudo deity, quasi deity, or sub deity. So he's made that claim, and presumably he would be able to support that. But he says later on, as we saw, that he didn't make that claim at all, that he was saying that his Southern Baptist people that he grew up with, the church, they provided him with this sort of information and impression. But no, Matt did mention the Southern Baptists, but not in that context. He'd moved on. It's 6 minutes later in his presentation that he mentions the Catholic Church in this matter of doctrine. So no, Matt was definitely wrong on that. And William obviously wrote it down, and he was fairly certain, but he probably wasn't certain enough. He might think, maybe I made a mistake, and he decided not to pursue it. Or maybe he decided that in the big scheme of things, it was going to hold up the debate, and he wanted to get onto other things. I don't know whether you found all that analysis interesting or not. And I hope you don't think I wasted my time over that, but I heard it. I wanted to go back and listen to the tape and just see what actually was said, because things got a bit heated there, and they weren't able to decide between them who was right and who was wrong. But I think William was right basically, and Matt was wrong. So anyway, there it is. Okay guys, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting me. I'll be back again with another video soon. Bye for now.
Where does she sit in the hierarchy?